Edgar Allan Poe, an American literary artist known for his works of mystery such as The Black Cat, states that poetry is a rhythmical creation of beauty. To simplify, this means that a poem must possess musical qualities through rhyme, rhythm, repetition, assonance, alliteration, and many other sound devices. The goal of poetry here is to imitate the routines of life. Let me read. Today you are you, that is truer than true. There is no one alive who is youer than you. In this poem, that once again inspires us to be ourselves, a number of sound devices can be observed, such as the rhyming scheme AABA. In the second line, you can also observe alliteration, which means that there are succeeding words that start with the same letter. The second and the last lines share the same construction. There are observations of a certain quality of our life, and that is our routine, the very rhythm in our race. We move left and right, we exhale and inhale, we open and close our eyes, we rise and fall, we stop and start, we do things repeatedly, we do things in between. Yes, there are unlimited variations, but these are rhythmic patterns. And this is what poetry echoes from us, our rhythmical creation. And Poe said that it is beautiful. Rap songs are rich in poetic musicality or rhythmic creation, such as in Nicki Minaj's Super Bass. A line goes, and he ill, he real, he might get a deal, in which there is internal rhyme as expressed in the words ill, real, and deal. Similarly, in the line, I'm in my, you're like pelican fly, I'm in yours so shy and I'm loving your tie. The words that rhyme are my, fly, shy, and tie. What Poe is telling us that a poem is a pattern. Poetry is much like our human ways, repetitive and rhythmic. Indeed, our life is musical. For that reason, a poet is challenged to find ways to imitate the patterns we make to create a truly musical work of art. And this is through the sound devices. While Poe's view deals with what we can hear, the next one suggests that a poem is about what we can see. Percy Bysshe Shelley, an English romantic and epic poet known for her Ode to the West Wind, says that poetry lifts the veil from the hidden beauty of the world and makes familiar objects be as if they were not familiar. To simplify, this means that poem can make something familiar unfamiliar. Sounds familiar? Yes, well, this aligns itself with the concept of defamiliarization, something we learned in formalism. And here, a poem uses figurative language to make something look unknown. An example is this translation of a certain equation. Through its arrangement, something mathematical becomes poetic, much like the poem earlier. Also, take note of how some words were used instead of the actual numbers. The word gross refers to a dozen of dozens. The term score originated from the practice in which farmers make a notch on a stick when counting sheep or cattle orally from 1 to 20. Instead of saying 0, the poet used the English expression not a bit more, which means nothing. Another example is Pablo Neruda's poem An Ode to an Onion. In here, Neruda focused on the intricate details of an onion and glorified them in words that can make one see the beauty of an onion. The line luminous flask may be a description of the bright purplish color of this vegetable. The lines your beauty formed petal by petal may refer to the layers of an onion which one can see when it's sliced or chopped. The lines in the secrecy of the dark earth, your belly grew drowned with dew, talks about how an onion grows in the soil and forms like a bulb rich with juicy flavor. This poem made an onion look like a beautiful gem through the artistic descriptions of the genius Pablo Neruda. The onion becomes unfamiliar. What Shelley is telling us is that a poem is a distortion. It filters our reality and influences our perception of ordinary objects through the use of figurative language. In this case, the poet is challenged to be well-versed in the use of imagery and figures of speech such as simile, metaphor, personification, and many others. In many cases, the poem cloaked in words is a metaphor to an idea. However you see a poem, may it be a human, a mirror, a pattern, or a distortion, A poem has certain ingredients that one can mix and match, and these are its form, its musicality, and its imagery. These ingredients are used in a poem to deliver a message and to achieve a creative effect. However, realize that art is not science. It is not right or wrong. It is not your obligation as a reader to understand a piece with accuracy. What you can only do is afford a view of it through the different literary lenses. In our next video, we'll have a glance at the different types of poem and how poetry is in the 21st century.